Welcome to Wetpixel Live. My name's Adam Hanlon, and I'm the editor of Wetpixel, and I'm joined today by a regular contributor, Alex Mustard. Hi, Alex.
Hey Adam, good to see you.
Good to see you. How's things down south?
Yeah, all good. It's actually not raining today. We've had a lot of rain recently,
Uh,
so hoping for some better diving opportunities in the coming days if we
in,
get
uh,
some better weather.
in true fashion, it's raining up north, so there we go. That does that a lot. Anyway, so Alex had a parcel through his post box, so we're going to talk about what arrived. So what's in the parcel, Alex?
Right. Well, it was an exciting one because it was a brand new product.
Excellent.
And it's this hairdryer looking thing here. Oh, sorry, it's probably not in screen.
There we are. It's now. Yeah,
And
yeah,
what the new aspect of this isn't the flash gun. It's this reflector that's on the front.
yeah.
And it's in itself, it's an interesting product. But I think what excited me most about this, and kind of what I want to talk about, is the fact that I'm just so excited to see underwater equipment manufacturers putting real effort into the details that actually make a difference photographically,
Yeah.
and particularly therefore in strobe manufacturers actually seeing them put attention into quality of light,
Yeah.
not just putting all their effort into trying to have slightly better specs than their rival,
More
but instead
power.
actually give tools that underwater photographers want and use for specific things. And you don't have to, whether you've got this flash gun or not, you don't have to buy this accessory.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited that these things are on the market and they're available for them. What this is a reflector. And reflectors aren't anything new in photography. And what they're designed to do is to get more of the light from the flash onto the subject.
Alex, it looks like a Martian death ray. It's not a Martian death ray then.
Well, I haven't tried it yet, so yeah, maybe I'll go underwater and I'll send it right fish.
Excellent.
I mean, reflectors are, as I was going to show you a picture, are as old as underwater photography, particularly in the days before electronic flash, and we use flash bulbs underwater. Not that I ever did, but underwater photographers use flash bulbs.
Yeah.
You see a lot of the pictures with old, particularly Rollio Marine cameras,
Yeah.
where they had a flash bulb. They'd have a reflector behind that to give the light some focus and to get some more power out of the flash gun
Yeah.
onto the subject. And that's all this reflector is designed for. It's designed very specifically around Retra's flash gun to get more light from the flash going onto the subject.
Yeah.
And this has a few advantages, but this one gives about an extra stop of light.
Wow.
Which, in terms of your flash power, is a few on your camera. It's 3 clicks. On the flash, it's a couple of clicks.
Yeah.
And that has a few advantages. First of all, it's quite a useful tool because you're not spraying light around. You can get a very focused, bright section of light. But I think it also can help flash power. It allows you to turn your flash power down considerably, still get the same light on the subject.
Yeah.
You obviously don't get the same spread of beam for a wide shot.
Yeah.
So if you're shooting action,
Yeah.
that
times.
can really improve, how quickly your strobes recycle because you can run them on a lower power.
What about
And
limited? Sorry, Alex. What about limited viz? If you've got limited viz, presumably if you're able to turn the strobes down, you would get less backscatter, more backscatter, or the same amount backscatter.
Well, by not spraying light around everywhere is one of the best
Surely.
ways to get rid of backscatter.
Yeah.
And this, in terms of coverage, actually reduces the beam somewhere between the little inserts that you've seen me playing with before. So it still gives a good widespread, but it gives it doesn't give like the really tight beam like some of the smaller inserts, but it gives you a good controlled beam. Obviously, in a wide angle scene, you would then end up with quite large areas of the frame unlit. So more for kind of maybe a mid-range zoom lens or a macro lens where you don't need to be spraying light everywhere. So by doing a macro dive like this, you could be saving a lot of strobe power.
Yep.
That could be really handy, should you need it. I think one of the reasons I think Retra have designed this as well is to work with their high-speed sync mode.
Right.
Because when you're running high-speed sync, the flash has to fire several times during the exposure.
Yep.
And therefore it can't fire several times on full power. It can fire several times on close to full, but not full power without it having to recycle because it's trying to do that really fast.
Yep.
This allows you to get more light from each of those flashes
Yep.
onto the subject and ultimately have a higher power strobe when it's strobing imperceptibly fast to allow you to use high speed sync.
Yep.
So I think that's a really nice feature for it.
Yep.
But more than this particular accessory being interesting in itself, for me the excitement is actually this whole movement across underwater photography where the strobe manufacturers are finally designing flash guns for photographers, not for engineers, not to try and beat their rivals on a spec sheet, and actually giving you a tool that you can use creatively. I think this would be great for backlighting. It's going to make really nice effects for backlighting and really good. And I know that Mike Bartik has published a review today on Wetpixel about it.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, so I've not used it underwater yet. So, I'm not gonna, I don't review things I haven't used, but I'm really excited to try it. I think it's got some really good creative possibilities. And I haven't read Mike's review yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's made of trying it out in the Philippines and how it works.
Mike, of course, is very lucky because I say he's lucky. He's one of the few people in the world that's probably out diving quite regularly. And he's been able to get out and test it and kindly supplied us with a review that's online now. Yeah, so
I think Mike will feel a bit luckier when he's able to welcome guests again back to Crystal Bay.
The good news is that actually from 1 o'clock today they can welcome local guests, which is okay. It's not great possibly for foreign travellers, but for at least it's a step towards normality for them and hopefully getting their businesses back up and running to some extent. So that's good news. So,
that's good to hear.
Yeah, I think Anna Lauer is
one of them.
Yeah, no, we're not jealous at all, are we?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a fascinating looking new tool, that Alex. So do you think that will that rim provide a hard edge? I'm thinking now in terms of inward lighting.
Yeah, it does provide quite a hard edge of light.
Right.
And it's a little bit like using a beam restrictor, but getting even more power in the middle of it. Because it really helps throw the light. I think it should also help send the light further from the camera. So particularly if you're like doing bigger animal stuff, particularly sharks, at a little, they're not going to come within a meter or so. Yeah. This could be a really effective way of throwing light out to them, because that's also what reflectors are used for, is for getting strobe light to go further. Yeah. So, but again, having not tried it, I'm not going to say, but theoretically it should do that. Yeah. But without trying it, hard to know.
Yeah. Perfect. And of course, with sharks, with big animals, the fact that you can recycle faster because you've got your strobes on lower power would always be an advantage. I mean, that's a kind of bit of a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, and I think with a subject like that, you're likely not to be using a fisheye lens, and the subject isn't going to be filling the whole frame. So I think these sort of accessories could work really well for that. Yeah. But yeah, I look forward to trying it, and I just thought I'd wanted to show it to you because it's brand new. It actually arrived last week, but I wasn't allowed to show you till today.
Great. Well, please, obviously. Check out Mike's review on Wetpixel, simultaneous with this one. And Alex has tons of information about quality of light. And actually, I think he has a bit of he implores some of the strobe manufacturers in his book to work on their quality of light. So, Alex, your book?
Yeah. It must be around here somewhere. I was going to have to grab it.
To him. Yeah.
I'm not ready for your plug.
There we go. Underwater Photography Masterclass. There
I
we
must
have
get
it.
another copy down here that has got my scribbles on the front.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think in that, obviously, it's a couple of years old now. Alex, is it?
It was written in 2015 but published 2016.
So actually, gosh, yeah. So but certainly in that, I think Alex does certainly make the plea to strobe manufacturers where to try and work improving on this idea of equality of light, as opposed to focusing just on output and all that kind of thing. And it's nice to see obviously products like this coming through that responded to that. So great, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, since this book was written and published, it hasn't, I always say, it was written not to be a book of its time. It was written to be a book that you could read 20 years later. I very much tried to keep anything out of it that I felt would age. Yeah. And I think it aged really well. You read it now and it just feels completely contemporary. Yeah. There's maybe a couple of things it misses, which we've spoken about before, which are it was written kind of pre the Blackwater boom, and it was written pre photogrammetry underwater. And I think those are the two things it really misses. Yeah. But beyond that, I think it hasn't aged at all. And I don't think it will age really, because it's written around those main principles of light, which don't change, as opposed to principles of fashion or cameras. Yeah. But the thing has really changed is a lot of the things that I plea for in terms of manufacturers focusing more on quality of light, I think is really coming to fruition now, which is really great.
Yeah, it's good to see, isn't it? Yeah, fantastic. So thank you very much, Alex. I'd like to thank our sponsor today, which has been CCAM, and thank them very much. And I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please give this episode a like if you've got benefit from it. Please feel free to add suggestions and comment in the comment section. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you next time.